so I hopped onto my iPad and that went into the beginner phase. I'm kidding, there's a phase in between that, it's called the forgotten phase, and it's called forgotten for a reason, and no one's gonna know what that is. I'm lying, I'm probably gonna make a video on it. Alright, so, you're wondering, what on earth is this forgotten phase? Well, being honest, I also forgot. I completely forgot about this phase until one day I was organising my Google Drive and came across it, and oh boy, I unlocked a bunch of memories. But first, let me just start at the beginning. I just came from the Photoshop phase. I realised my iPad should have a good drawing app, but unfortunately it already had one, and it was one of those really simple ones where like you couldn't even like zoom in to use layers or anything like that, and this caused my art to be a lot worse than the beginner phase, if that is possible. Anyways, before I show you this god forbidden art, it's not just that it was bad, it's mostly bad because I traced some art. Yes, that's right, I was that person, and it was mostly an accident. But since I couldn't do anything properly on this app, it was just easier to like trace, because to have a guide, like obviously it's not justifiable, but it's just really bad. As I said in my last video, I had no idea what the art community was, so I was oblivious to my deeds. And with that in mind, let's just move into this horrible art. May I add that these are just also super cringy, and I cannot emphasize how horrible this art is. First of all, we have two sections. We have nexo art that I did and Marauder's Error. We'll begin with Marauder's Error. So basically, with Marauder's Error, I had this really bad fan fiction. If you watch my other videos, you'd know that I have a bunch of Harry Potter OCs from the Marauder's Era that I used to have for fan fictions, and for this one, I was currently writing it at this point when I was doing this phase, so logically, I drew fan art of it, but you know, it's not real fan art because I traced it all. Basically, let's just look into it. Oh god, this is so bad. Alright, so we have this blonde girl, I think her name was Jacqueline. I think it's Jacqueline. She is in a medical bed with Lily Evans, I'm pretty sure. As you can see, it's really bad. Like, I couldn't even connect the lines because I couldn't zoom up, if you remember. And the eyes are like this because, again, I couldn't zoom up, so I couldn't do any details, so I had to just do it like this. And just, it was horrible. I don't know why she's in bed. I can't remember anything about this fanfiction, really, except that it was, I think, Lily and Remus was the ship, and it was Jacqueline and James, I think. Alright, we have this one, also traced again. See, this is Remus and Lily, I think. I don't know, man. Okay, here we have Lily and James. See how lovely this art is, guys. It's beautiful. See, this one, here, that's especially Jacqueline. I drew it in this one, right, which is obviously traced, and I just kind of copied into here, so you can add images, obviously, because how else would I have traced it, but I added this one in so it could work. And this is supposed to be Remus, I'm pretty sure, which is the opening scene of the fanfiction, I'm pretty sure, because she runs up to him saying like, oh, where's James, or no, she's asking for Lily, she's like, where's Lily, and he's like, oh, with James, I don't know. Yeah, it's not good. Look at this tree. Oh my god. Oh yeah, and we've got this, I don't know what this is this supposed to be like, blood, is she a vampire, is that a thing? I don't know. Like, I don't actually know because I didn't finish the fanfiction, so literally all I know about what the fanfiction gives me is that Jacqueline's supposed to like James and Remus is supposed to like Lily, but doesn't tell James because James is supposed to like Lily, then Lily goes out with James, so then she can get him to realise that he doesn't like her and actually like someone else. It's confusing, but there's no sign of like this. I don't know what this scene is supposed to represent. This is also traced, unfortunately. We got this one, this is also traced, and if you can note, the reason that only the hair is coloured is because I had no layers, so I had to like guess where everything is, so I decided to do the hair. I mean, it's a pretty cool stylized like, idea. And we got this lovely piece, also traced, of of Remus and Jacqueline. I think there was a whole thing with them together, and then it was like a whole, like a love square. I don't know, it's a weird fanfiction. Then here we finally have the James and Lily pairing, which is great. And then here we have some non-traced artwork from this phase. So we have James and Jacqueline. Obviously, look at this anatomy, like, look at it. Oh god. So we got, so what's your middle name then, Jack? And then she goes, well, it's funny you should ask. It's actually James. Her middle name is James? Whoa, I'm learning as much as you guys are. Okay, her middle name's James. We've got this one, again not traced. I think you can tell. Look at this feet. These feet are just... they're dancing. And we've got this little bit here that I obviously couldn't be able to erase. Oh, we've got another one. Listen, I should have told you this before all of this mess happened. I like you, Remus, and I don't care who you are outside. I love what's inside you. Oh, this is so cringy, guys. This is horrible. Okay, I think I like you too, I think. It's hard since James does too. Oh, okay. But I am 99% sure that I love you. Hold on, how can you say I think I like you too and then say I love you? Oh, this is so bad. Oh, okay. Guys, now that fanfiction cringe, let's just go over to Next Nights, which is the main influx of this phase. So, this features one of my OCs, Liza, but most of you won't know the series that it comes from. Next Nights. It's a kid show, but basically they're just knights in this weird futurized medieval time. Anyways, basically this is like a high school AU that I made up and I actually read a fanfiction of, which is still like up on WATTPAD if you want to read it. Like, but basically this is like fan art of that fanfiction, and yeah, this is like the Jacqueline one where like I drew something, then I saved it, then I added into a new drawing, and basically oh okay, this is Macy, who is supposed to be Clay's love interest, which is to do with the brown hair. In the fanfiction, basically, these two, Lisa, which is Macy, and Clay, are supposed to be really good friends, and she's supposed to be jealous, I think, at some point, because they may be together, but they're not together. They never have been, so this is like her imagination. Anyways, this part is traced, but these two aren't. Obviously, you can tell the difference. Look at this one, again, traced. So this is just Lisa and Clay. They're supposed to be like really good friends from when they were younger, so again, traced. Again, traced. This one is also traced. This is supposed to be Aaron Fox, which is the character in the show, who is supposed to be Lisa's like twin brother. And this is supposed to be another one of my OCs, which is Friday the 13th. Yes, it's very cringy. Her frame now is a Friday Triego, because we revamped a bunch of our old characters to make them more like realistic and not cringy. But they're supposed to be a love interest, so I just drew them because she's a major character, like a chaos bringer person who just disrupts the school. And we got Lisa and Clay again. Alright, here we've got another one. Again, I did that thing where I just finished the drawing, saved it, then put it into a new drawing. So we have Lisa, Clay, and Macy. Look at all these like styles. Like the style just changes because they're obviously from different artists. Oh, it's so bad. Then we have there's a hug between Clay and Lisa, except I forgot to do the hairlines. Then we have this a lovely hand anatomy. I think I drew Macy without tracing. I don't know, like this is so bad, like how can I have traced this and still got it really bad? Like this one you can tell it was traced, but this one, I don't know, man. Oh, here's the one that we put into that other drawing. And we got this one, which is a progression of Lisa and Clay's friendship from tiny primary school to graduated, I suppose. But like, look at these style changes. I mean, it's not obviously notable here, but you can see. But look at this tracing. Like, look at this leg. What the hell? Oh my god, this is so bad. Then we got this lovely traced piece of Macy, because Macy's supposed to be the kingdom's princess, and her father wants her to become the queen, but she wants to become a knight in the TV show, and that's sort of like the same thing here, but she still attends the school. But I still draw here, but like look at this, these eyes, so realistic. This is the final piece. This is obviously again traced. I actually quite like the drawing, like the initial drawing. Like obviously mine didn't do anything justice. It's horrible. What is this math equation? Hold on, 76 equals... Does that actually equal? Wait a second, I remember trying to like write an equation that makes sense. Hold on. I remember like trying to work this out. Oh, the good old days. It wasn't good. Oh god. Wow, am I right? It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Now, I'm going to switch over to a speed paint of me trying to redeem myself. I'm going to be redrawing this piece, but of course, this time with my own talents and without tracing. Ugh. I have to add that I rediscovered these things a few months ago and actually began drawing this piece around that time as well, before taking a big pause, so a lot has changed within those months, you know, so my art now is actually a tiny bit different to this, but not so much, so I couldn't be able to redraw it. Something that's very odd that came out of this, apart from like tracing it, is that I actually had my old Instagram account, like at this point, like it was active, but I didn't upload any of these images onto that Instagram account. Instead, I uploaded them into my old DeviantArt account. Yes, oh boy. I actually had a bad history with DeviantArt in the past. Not like bad experiences like with other people, just more with the actual website. Like I used to use it so little that I kept forgetting my password, and there were so many issues that I just kept like giving up and making a new account or something, because I couldn't even like replace my old password because I forgot that it was this whole deal, and it was just bad luck with the whole thing. Finally actually broke the curse last year, and so my current DeviantArt works, and I put some of my art on there just for more engagement, but I don't really use it. So my old art account is still on there actually, because I don't actually know the password to like then delete it, so it's just still there with like some really old art, some from the beginner phase, and just not good. But basically, on that old account I uploaded these cursed forgotten phase drawings, and people saw them. Yes, they did. And this is when things get interesting. I actually tried to go find my old DeviantArt account the other day to see if I could get screenshots of what happened on there, but I'm pretty sure I deleted the drawings, so there's no trace of what happens. But basically what happened is that some dude commented two things on these images. One was something along the lines of, these are so obviously traced. Like, I mean, yeah, okay. I can, like, nowadays I can see how it's so, like, you can tell. And one of the other comments that he said was, this is trash. Or, like, just like a hate comment, basically, of the art. And since it was the same person, I figured that he figured it was trash because it was traced. Like, I just made that connection because it was from the same person. So, I just kind of freaked out. So, I just deleted all of the images from DeviantArt. Funnily enough, though, only one other person ever commented on those drawings. And it was actually a good comment. Like, it was something along the lines of, wow, these are really good. That's the end of the story of the Deviant incident. Obviously, I learned from my lesson. After that incident, I stopped doing it completely because I freaked out, and I began looking for another app that didn't have the restrictions of like not being able to zoom in and having layers. And so that's when the beginner phase occurred, and that was OBS Paint. This whole forgotten phase lasted like maybe a week, 2 weeks max before anything happened. In the beginner phase, in my other video, I stated that I didn't use references or bases, and I wasn't involved in the art community at all, really, and followed literally one artist. So I don't even think I knew what bases were or anything. Otherwise, I might have just traced the bases instead of actual artwork in the forgotten phase. But now, as you can see with this redraw, that I actually know how to art, whatever that means. I'm pretty sure I didn't use any references for this one either, except for like clothing. But otherwise, that's it. So, I think I've redeemed myself. You know, based on the horrible basis that the traced forgotten phase was. Before, I mentioned that these forgotten phase drawings consisted mostly of my OC Liza or my other really bad Harry Potter OC. Since the Harry Potter OC is a bad one, I never picked her back up again. And if you've watched my video on my Harry Potter OCs, then you would know that she's one of the many bad Harry Potter OCs that I had that just with the exact same character with different names. It's just horrible. So I just discarded her, and she only exists in a very short bad fanfiction I have somewhere. Liza, on the other hand, is one of my main OCs. I'll link her Toyhouse in the description, but she's really confusing. This Liza that I'm drawing currently, and the one that's featured in the Forgotten Phase artwork, is based off my Knight in Academy fanfiction from the LEGO Nexo Knights fandom. This Liza is called Liza 2 because she's the second version of Liza that I have. In simple terms, I have 3 versions of Liza, who are the same person with slightly varying backstories. This is Liza 2, who is the one in the high school AU, joined with Clay Morrington, one of the characters in the show. He's supposed to be a friend, and they're like best friends since primary school. Anyways, that's the Forgotten Phase. It's horrible, and I've decided to expose myself, which is always a great time. Did you guys ever have incidents like this? I'm pretty sure everyone's had some sort of experience close to this, like just, you know, if you're ever a young art kid who just like searched up some drawing to like a reference, but then you low-key copied the entire thing. We've all had that sort of thing, that sort of phase. So I mean, sure, I did it a bit more, but like everyone makes accidents, and at least I learned. If you like this video and would like to see more of me making a fool of myself, you can subscribe, or you know, comment your dumb art accidents, because those are always very amusing to listen to. And thanks for watching me try to redeem myself, and hopefully I've lived up to the expectations that the Forgotten Phase didn't set.